Hi, I'm Michael Senoff, founder and CEO of HardToFindSeminars.com. For the last 5 years, I've interviewed the world's best business and marketing minds. Now my challenge is to build the world's largest free resource for online, downloadable audio business interviews. I've learned a lot in the last 5 years, and today I'm going to show you the skills you need to survive.
Again, if we look at the research around executive coaching, where there's been a tremendous amount of work done, productivity increases. The research says that you can get productivity increase, 53%. Quality goes up, customer service goes up, customer complaints get reduced, cost gets reduced, teamwork is increased. These are all things that happen as a result of coaching. In fact, the interesting thing was that in the research that's done on coaching, most organizations see a return on investment of over close on 500%.
Hi, this is Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. I am pleased to introduce to you a true master of sales and sales training. His name is Ian Siegel from McKinsey Consulting. Salespeople aren't born, they're trained. That's what took Ian years to learn after his first sales job. His only training for that position was, hang in there, you'll do fine. The job lasted 2 hours and ended with his boss telling him he should become a waiter. This was a defining moment in Ian's life. And in this interview, you'll learn how Ian went from being that no-talented kid to a highly sought-after sales management consultant throughout Australia and New Zealand. And he'll be the first one to tell you that if he can master sales, anyone on your sales force can too. Here's what you're going to learn in this interview. You'll learn how managerial tools and methodologies can power your sales like never before. You'll learn 5 ways to analyze your staff that will keep your sales production at their highest. You'll learn how sales coaching can push your sales and margins up. You'll learn why a sales force is an investment and how to make it pay. And you'll learn how to find good salespeople and, more importantly, how to keep them. Ian understands the frustration managers feel after spending lots of money to generate quality leads and only to have it blown by a salesperson. It's easy to see how this happens when, according to his research, 50% of salespeople fall short of quotas. 90% of sales opportunities don't close when the salesperson say they will, and 75% of product launches fail. But the biggest factor affecting production and sales today is sales leadership. When Ian says that it's the head of the fish that stinks the most, Ian is really saying that effective sales begins at the top. If sales managers learn models, tips, systems, and tools, they'll be able to bring those skills back to the salespeople. So in this 60-minute interview, you'll also hear how increasing sales production is mainly about finding a process that works. And according to Ian, results will follow. Most people will see a return of 500%. You'll also hear 5 actual case studies and their amazing results. Listen to this recording, identify it with your sales force, and take this information and start using it as soon as today. Now let's get going. Why should I listen to you? What makes you an expert? Can you give me a little history on you and your background and how all this got going?
Michael, if you were to have a look at my library, you would see probably close on 800 books on the subject of selling and sales and sales management and management. It's become an absolute, it is a passion of mine, mainly because I was so bad at it. Like, how can you take somebody who's not a salesperson and how do you get them to sell? And can you just take anybody and turn them into a salesperson? What makes good salespeople? Is it just a talent? And I believe, yeah, in many cases, talent counts for a lot. But you can take non-talented people, and if you give them the right tools and you work with them and coach them over time, you can get really, really good results. In fact, many times you can actually, the results you can get are better than with talented people because they're following a designed process to get a result, whereas sometimes talented people just kind of do their own thing. It's a passion of mine. I've always been a student of the sales process and selling, mainly because my very first experience in sales and many after then I failed and failed dismally.
What was your first experience in
My
sales?
first experience of selling was I got myself a Saturday morning job. Way back then, stores weren't open on a Saturday. They used to close at 1 o'clock.
How old were you?
I was 16 years old. A friend of mine got me the job. We were selling men's and boys' clothing. The training program was, there's stock, hang in there, you'll be fine. That was the training. Come morning tea time, which started at 8:30, about 10 o'clock that morning, this friend of mine comes up to me because we were working together, and he hands me an envelope, and inside the envelope is my 2 hours worth of pay. And he says to me, the boss says that I need to tell you that you're probably not going to make it as a salesperson. You better go and get a job as a waiter, and, here's your pay for that.
So he fired you after 2 hours?
Correct.
That probably hurt.
Well, at that point I had a decision to make. I could either believe him and say, well, what do you know? You didn't give me a chance, and rationalize positively. Or I could actually choose to believe him and take on this belief that I was no good at selling and that I would be better off as a waiter.
So what'd you do? How'd you handle it?
Well, because of my self-esteem at that stage, I actually chose to believe that he was right and I was wrong. And so I had this belief system in my head that I was never going to make it in sales. And no matter what I did and no matter how I tried, and I tried. I was one of the youngest recruits in an insurance company to go and sell life insurance. And I struggled, and I worked hard. I would sit there at night making call after call after call, but I had this little voice in my head that said, well, you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it.
Yeah, how old were you when you took on the life?
So I was now in my early 20s.
Now, were you in a position where you had to go make a living for yourself?
I know how to make a living. And so then I took another sales job, which I thought would be easier, selling industrial cleaning chemicals, going into organizations and selling them cleaners.
What kind of training did they provide?
Again, like most organizations, smattering of product training, and hang in there. You'll be fine. Just make the calls. And, and I did what so many salespeople did. I would drive past a company, and just by driving past, I could look at that company and tell that they had no need for what I was selling, just by driving past. And the truth of the matter is, I couldn't tell a thing. I just had this voice in my head. I feared the rejection. I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to make the effort. And I would spend my morning driving around looking at all these potential opportunities and rationalizing, well, they wouldn't need what I've got to sell. And eventually I just burnt out of selling and made a decision that I was not ever going to be able to sell. Just so happened I was fortunate enough to be able to go back into the family business, and which I ran then for 5 years.
What was the family business?
We were selling industrial roller shutter doors and servicing them. So again, nothing sexy about the business. It was just hardcore. Mm-hmm. But again, I wouldn't even go out with the salespeople to train them. So this is how I was managing my life. Anything I could do to avoid selling. I then left to go to live in America at the time.
Where'd you live?
We lived in Dallas. So right in Dallas, 26 years old, with my brand new bride. What am I going to do? And the truth is, because I didn't have all I had was a high school education. Mm-hmm. The only job I could get was baking chocolate chip cookies and brownies, working for $4 an hour.
Where were you working, like in a bakery?
In a catering company. We were baking for Macy's at the time.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com, and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.